What is up, you amazing people? It is I, Nima, and today I want to talk about a game that I actually had played a while ago and had already made a video, but for some reason, it's just gone. What did you do with my video, YouTube? Huh? Give it back. Anyway, I don't know if it was strike or if it just, I don't know. I'm not sure what happened. It could have been my crappy computer. I can't blame it, but I can't find it in my history, can't find it anywhere. And the publisher is like, hey, we want our review. We gave you a code. Where's our GD video? And since I can't find it, I'm just remaking another one. So anyway, this review is for a game called Bang On Balls. And this was an interesting game because so many of my friends, fellow reviewers and stuff at the time were telling me, oh, this is a really great game. It's really fun. You got to check it out. But I had a really hard time getting into it. See, in this game, you play as a ball by the name of Bob, and you find yourself in a movie studio, like a movie lot, if you will, and this becomes like your hub world. It's your first introduction to the game and definitely gives you a tutorial on how to move your character around, and also kind of a mini stage for exploration and such. Now, I think really this just gives an idea as to why you are going to be exploring different historical worlds, and honestly, I don't mind it. It seems like a little, easy, but it's better than copying every other formula I've seen out there, like, oh, I found we have to go through time because of a time crystal kind of thing. At least this is something different. And when you finally enter one of these worlds, you'll see like these worlds are gigantic. There's 4 in total, and even though that doesn't seem like a lot, the places themselves are massive. It can take a long time to explore every aspect of it, although you don't need to. You see, the game really only gives you a few objectives that you need to complete before you move on. If you stick to that, this is a rather short game that I think sort of misses the point of the game in general. Now, that's the way I would play it, and it's probably the wrong way to play it. You see, this game is more about collecting cosmetics and collecting currency so that you can feed it to the NPCs until they explode and give you different cosmetics. Now, for me, I'm not much of a collectathon person. I feel like I've got other stuff to do in a game, and that's just not much of a motivation for me. And that's why this game didn't really find a place in my heart, so to speak. I found it kind of meandering and repetitive, and these are things that you don't want in a big exploration game. Part of the big reason why I felt that way, though, was because of the combat. Yeah, you had the ability to equip different items, but they didn't really make much of a difference, aside from the shield. The shield really did help, but you get to equip a weapon, but it doesn't do anything really. Your only really important attack, and honestly, just your really only attack, is this dash attack that you do, where you bounce off enemies. And again, that just gets kind of repetitive. And there is a certain amount of platforming that does feed to that hunger for exploration, and that can be really interesting until you get to a point when you realize you're just out collecting more cosmetics. And that's really where the game lost me, because it didn't have combat really. Not to say it's just completely boring, but it's not great. And there was only a couple boss battles that I actually felt were important. And through most of the game, you have these huge worlds that have turned into gigantic battlefields, and yet combat isn't that important. And in fact, you can kind of just run through the enemies, complete your objectives, summon the final boss, and be on your way. So none of that combat really matters. And I really felt like this was a missed opportunity, because I really felt like if this was some sort of online game like with your friends, that would be a lot of fun, and be it more of an actual battle instead of just the objective-based thing. Now, I understand I'm trying to take the entire game and put it on its head. I'm just saying I really felt like it had that ability, and one of the reasons I felt that way is because of how well the game performed. Honestly, huge worlds, a lot of moving characters, an impressive amount of destructive environments, and yet it kind of felt like a waste. This all performed really well. I want to be clear on that. The game itself was really surprising. Don't know what kind of magic they put into their game to make it work so well on the Switch. Not to say it didn't have some problems. I mean, come on, it's the Switch, but it performed far better than I expected it to. And yet, all of it for me felt like it was kind of for naught. All you're really doing is these objectives, and if you care, you're exploring for cosmetics. But if you don't really care about collecting stuff, this game doesn't really hold much to you. Because you see, the actual objectives, the combat, the bosses, none of that is led by any sort of motivation. There's no storyline really. And with whatever immersion that I would have had being taken away from the fact that it's on a movie set, I just didn't really feel the importance of winning these battles. I didn't feel the importance of doing any of this stuff. And I have to say, again, I don't like the collect-a-thon type games. So obviously I'm biased in a certain way, but I don't know. I just felt like there was a lot of opportunities for this game that I still feel like a number of people are going to enjoy it. Just not for me. I didn't really feel like I was really accomplishing much. It felt more like I was just running around in circles trying to collect different clothes, and that's just not what I care about, honestly. So yeah, like I get where people would like it, but honestly, just not for me. The other thing that I have to point out is it's pretty expensive. The game's about $24.99, and honestly, I was hoping to see something a little bit more. Maybe even like a hidden mode. You know, like in Conker's Bad Fur Day, where that like battlefield ended up becoming one of like the best parts about the game. I was thinking that would be something you could do. A mode that focused on like a battle royale multiplayer style. That I think could be kind of fun. I just felt like there wasn't a lot of incentive to keep going. But anyway, that's just my thoughts on the game, and I don't want to trash it because I do understand a lot of people like it, and I might just be wrong. But I feel like if I had paid the money for it, I wouldn't be that happy. But I do have to thank keymailer, because thanks to them, I didn't have to pay the money for it. But anyway, yeah, if I had to give this game a score, honestly, I would give it about a 5 out of 10. And honestly, I'm not discrediting anyone who likes this game. Just wasn't for me. I'm not a big fan of like the collect-a-thon things, but I was really impressed with the graphical presentation and the way that this game performed in general. Anyway, thank you guys so much for checking this video out. I do have a review for Backpack Hero coming up tomorrow. And if you're not aware, that's the game that Shadow dropped, or one of 3 games that Shadow dropped during the Indie World presentation for Nintendo. Anyway, thanks a lot, guys. Appreciate each and every one of y'all. Love y'all. Bye-bye.